Sawadee. Good afternoon, everybody, the audience from Asia, and also good morning to those who dialed in from Europe, and a very early good morning for those dialing in from the Americas. So today, welcome to Central PATTANA's SET Digital Roadshow for the recap of the third quarter of 2020 financial performance. And I guess with the recent development in terms of what's happening to the industry as well as to our business, we'll just quickly recap in terms of what happened in the third quarter, what we expect for the rest of the year, and we'll leave ample time for the Q&A session. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the third quarter / 9 months 2020 financial performance recap. I guess to sum it up in a very short phrase, the performance in the third quarter would be something nothing short of better than expected. I guess a lot of the businesses that we see here have already exemplified something of a very strong recovery versus the previous quarter when we had a very heavy impact in terms of the COVID-19 situation, plus the lockdown measures imposed by the government, which caused the many businesses to temporarily close down for a period of time. So third quarter seems like everything's returning very close to normal. In fact, shopping malls today, it's already filled with people. We have more than 33 shopping centers here in Thailand. Most of them are used to cater for the local customers. And in many of those locations, things have already returned past probably around 85 to 90% level of the normal level already. So it's a very encouraging sign in that regards. In terms of the occupancies, the thing we've taken very precautious measures in terms of making sure that our tenants are able to survive during the troubled times, and we continue to work closely with them and support them during this recovery period to make sure that they get back up strong as before once the situation returns to normal eventually. Last but not least, I guess it all comes down to the ability to generate sound returns to our business, and I think part of that is also down to our cost performance that we continue to take on a lot of discipline in terms of making sure that we cut down all the unnecessary expenditures and keep the required level of expenditures to be more optimal, more efficient. And the way we spend on various front end and back end expenditures, we're getting smarter by the days as we learn our ways around the new normal situation. So I guess overall, all these sums up to a very solid third quarter financial performance. In terms of total revenue, although it's around 21% down from the previous year, it's a huge recovery from the second quarter. Of course, a lot of that comes down from our core business in terms of rental services. We were able to collect a full period of rentals this time around, as opposed to the previous quarter where we had about half of the quarters involved with the mall shutdown process to control the COVID-19 situation. Even up to today, we still operate all of our malls normally. The 33 shopping malls in Thailand plus the other one in Malaysia at iCity. Today it's operating as usual. So we're seeing a very solid trajectory of recovery in terms of both traffic and also tenant sales at many of these locations. Second of all, it all comes down to our ability to maintain a very lean and efficient scale of operations, and this comes down to the ability to generate a solid gross profit margin upon the recovery. We've taken a lot of exercise in terms of making sure that we were able to reduce costs where necessary, or either that or we can further obtain additional efficiencies in the way we operate, such as utilities costs. Of course, when the malls come back on, online, all these costs, variable costs, they do come up, but we try to put it, control that cost level to a certain extent where we were able to achieve some sort of efficiencies in terms of our ability to use electricities and other utilities, such that it translates to a real cost savings in the end. Apart from those, we also look at a lot of areas where we could, further optimize the cost structure. Whether it be in terms of the outsourced service costs, cleaning, maintenance, security. We try to be more smarter, work closely with our service providers to come up with new ways to provide the same high quality level of services, as well as being able to reduce the cost burden for both sides. Last but not least, in terms of the marketing and SG&A expenditures, we try to also be more smart in terms of the way we conduct all these expenditures, and I guess this comes down to the fact that we're able to place ourselves in terms of the SG&A expense to revenue ratio to be something that's lower than about a 3-year average during the past 3 years of around less than 16 or 17% in the third quarter. So that's a very encouraging sign that we're able to meet all these revenues and cost targets, which translates to a very solid ability to generate profits from the operations. Operating profits only down 27% from the prior year. Net profit is also almost 30% down from the prior year, but a massive improvement from the second quarter nonetheless. Just to remind that the figures that are presented on this slide is something that we try to represent the actual core performance of the business. These numbers do differ from the numbers that you see on the financial statements. The reconciliation, which is provided at the back in the appendices, so you can look at the section for further details. Nonetheless, I think in terms of the ability to generate operating profit margin, EBITDA margin is relatively well maintained during the third quarter. For the first 9 months, I think we're on track to achieve the full-year target as we stipulated earlier this year when the situation starts to intensify. So I think we're pretty much on track in terms of the revenue side and the cost performance. I think we're pretty much on track, if not exceed the level that we've anticipated first, which comes down to our ability to both maintain the profitability margin as well as maintain a relatively flexible capital structure. Our net debt to equity ratio is relatively low, less than 1 time, which is our internal policy anyway. But we've managed to maintain ample flexibility on this in case we need additional access to a liquidity buffer in times of uncertainties. So I think we've also achieved enough on this that we're able to maintain a relatively healthy financial position in the end. So I guess moving on in terms of the recap of the highlights in terms of what happened during the third quarter. Of course, a lot of this comes down to what we can expect the customers of our shopping malls to adapt to the new normal lifestyles, meaning that it needs to be the center of their everyday lifestyle needs, the center of catering new experiences, as well as a safe and clean environment to be. So, in terms of making sure that we stay on top of things for making sure that our facilities are accommodative to the customers. We still maintain a very stringent safety and hygiene measures throughout all of our 34 locations, both in Thailand and also in Malaysia. So we've worked with a lot of the public organization sectors and also the private organizations as well to make sure that we facilitate all the safety and cleanliness throughout our malls. Apart from that, we try to maintain our position as the center of life for all of our customers and everywhere they live or enjoy their lifestyle needs. So one of the things that we try to roll out continuously is to be able to accommodate signature events, something that we could cater to a lot of the customer groups with different interests. So whether it be something that we work together with the local operators, local businesses to try to showcase things that could be of interest to the customers throughout the various locations, and one of those is try to promote the local goods and services and try to bring it to our shopping malls and have a direct channel for these businesses to connect with the customers. Apart from that, we try to organize various activities of different interests, such as recreational, family, fashion, food, as well as sports, to name a few, to make sure that the customers still feel the relevance of their lifestyles towards coming to the physical location like malls, for example, and still believe that that's still the centerpiece of where their everyday lifestyle needs can be catered. Apart from all these various activities that we rolled out, we've also moved forward with making sure that we create and deliver something new, something that none of our current portfolio malls or even some of the other mall locations even have. Some of the flagship stores, for example. So we opened a new Apple store at Central World. So it's this very iconic flagship building right in front of the Central World Mall. That's very iconic, and it's something that a landmark of the central part of Bangkok, to say the least, that we could appeal to a lot of the not only the local customers, but eventually a lot of the foreign tourists once they do return. Obviously this will be amongst the centerpiece that they have to visit. Apart from that, we also had a major development for the Isetan department store at Central Road as well, which they closed down the department store section this past August, and currently we're preparing to move in and renovate the area that's occupied by Isetan, and would later redevelop that area and then relaunch them into something that we believe that will be a new phenomenon here at Central Road, something that blends in with the rest of the mall, and something that has never been there before, to capture the interest of both the local and also the international communities as well. But to say the least, once Isetan moved out, we managed to secure some of the new, authentic Japanese brands, particularly in the F&B, to remain with us here at Central World. So we've managed to beef up our tenant portfolio there. So at the end of the day, we still maintain our total value offers to the. Other than that, we're also moving forward in terms of the new project development. We've recently launched 2 new residential projects. These are the low-rise projects that's located very close to our existing malls, and that's something that we continue to move forward towards, bringing to the market a very high-quality mixed-use development project, as well as in terms of moving forward with the landmark projects, Dusit Central Park, something that we announced last year, and today I think we're pretty much on track in terms of the development progress. Right now we're in the process of demolishing the old hotel structure, and right now we're moving forward with putting up all the new infrastructures to support the 4 new pillars, the hotel, the retail portion, the office, and the residential, such that in the next few years we'll eventually see these developments into reality. Plus the Rama 2 Mall major renovation has already started. Right now we're basically wrapping up the development portion at a new portion of the land area right behind the mall, such that we will, which will later be the feature of the new retail area, plus the new recreational space. So there will be like a new park, a new family destination, and something that the local communities can enjoy. So those will eventually be brought up in phase by phase, starting towards the second half of next year onwards. So that's something that we believe that this project has a massive potential in terms of capturing the long-term growth, and also the market share of the catchment around the western part of Bangkok. Now let's take a look at in terms of the progress on the traffic side, and of course this graph kind of summarizes the story of two tales. In the first half, when the COVID-19 situation started to get worse, a lot of the organizations and even all the citizens don't know what to expect. So we had a massive exercise in terms of going through mall shutdowns and also getting accustomed to the new ways of living everyday lives, working from home and etc. So people are more cautious in terms of coming out and enjoy their usual outdoor outside home activities at first. So once the malls do open, back in May, we've gradually seen the recovery of the traffic, albeit slightly. But from June onwards to September, I think that's the period where a lot of the confidence has started to kick in. People are becoming more confident in terms of the safety and also the hygiene standards we provide at our malls. Plus the return of the usual everyday life activities, accommodated by the ease of the lockdown measures, have already resulted in terms of people coming back to the malls and enjoy their everyday usual activities, whether it be coming to the restaurants or going to fashion stores, or doing family activities together here at the malls. So we've seen a massive pickup in terms of the traffic recovery, especially in the malls where our primary target are the local customers of Thailand. So places like the Greater Bangkok, like in the suburban areas, as well as the provincial areas where we orient ourselves towards the local customers and communities. These are the malls that have recovered quite strongly, in the range of around 85 to 90% recovery in traffic. A few locations, in fact, have already recovered to very close to 100% already. So it seems like everything is kicking back to normal situation there. So I guess this represents the majority of the local domestic malls, to say the least. On the other hand, we do have a few locations where we're located in the more tourist-oriented locations, like for example in Pattaya, Samui, and Phuket. Those are the ones that have lagged behind slightly due to the exposure to the tourist crowd. Normally at these locations, tourists would make up probably about 30% or more of the total traffic. So with the absence of tourism as we speak, of course, these places are going to recover slower than some of the domestic malls. So in terms of gauging between the mall traffic recovery as well as the tenant sales performance, which also tracks very closely to the traffic recovery, our focus is to be able to provide the necessary support to our tenants, at all locations at the appropriate level of the situation at the different locations. So for instance, tenants located at the malls where the recovery is very strong, the trend of giving the discount aids has gone lower than say in the first half of the year. Versus some of the tenants are located in the tourist locations, these guys are struggling quite a fair bit. So we tend to give a higher level of discounts to these locations, as well as try to help them to a certain extent in terms of refocusing their marketing campaigns instead of gearing towards the the foreign tourists in the past. Right now, we're trying to focus more towards the local demand, the local travelers, so that they would stand a better chance to survive, at least for a time being. With it, in a view that the local situation, although it's improving, it's something that we're still quite cautious in terms of the recovery going forward. Plus, foreign tourists aren't going to return to the normal level anytime soon. So we have to come up with ways that we can at least accommodate these tenants to stand a better chance to maintain their strength in the times of challenges. So of course, the trend of discounts overall is progressively going lower. Towards the end of the year and into next year, it will be circumstantial, meaning that it's going to be something that we would consider case by case. So for some tenants whose recovery is already very strong in terms of the mall traffic and also the sales performance, chances are it's going to be lower than the level that we see in the third quarter. For others whose performance is not recovering as well as some of the others, we'll continue to look after them at the appropriate level, so that they would at least ease that burden in terms of making sure that they can continue to do their business going forward. In terms of the occupancies, I guess to sum up this graph here is that much of the contracted occupancies for the tenants have already resumed their business. So we're up to we still maintain the average occupancy of our malls at around 92%, and perhaps the majority, if not all of those, have already resumed or reopened their business. It's just going to be a very small cluster or small size retailers that couldn't afford to resume their business anymore, and for a lot of these guys, they've already been in trouble even before the COVID-19 situation happened. So once COVID-19 hit, it kind of accelerated the inevitable. But we've already been aware of these very small portion of the tenants, which account for probably less than 0.5% of the occupancy levels. In place of these tenants, we have also engaged and prepared to open or introduce some of the new brands that are waiting to come into the mall area, and also a lot of these tenants have already fit out their shops and have as we speak now that we're in November, have already opened their shops. So occupancies is relatively well maintained, pretty stable at this level for a time being, and eventually I think we should still maintain at least above 90% for a time being, given that our focus is to continue to engage with the new brands or new types of tenants that could offer something new and dynamic at our malls all the time. Plus, our intention to support all of our tenants at all of our malls will continue going forward at the appropriate levels where, if recovery is strong, then they would be in a position to better stand on their own. So all these is used to consider in terms of the ability to maintain our occupancies, as well as in terms of the rental renewals. At the moment, I think we were leaving a lot of flexibility to the tenants to basically have a little bit of breathing room, say a 6 months period of time before we would consider renegotiating the rates by next year. So if the situation eventually resumes to normal, then we could continue to negotiate on the new rental contracts with a lot of these tenants. I'll move on to the residential project pipeline. So recently launched 2 new low-rise development projects. Both are single detached housing. One in Chiang Rai, which is not too far away from our mall in Chiang Rai, as well as it's pretty accessible from between the malls and to the airports and some of the featured locations up in the northern part of Thailand. So, and secondly, the price point is something that we try to make sure that it's affordable by a lot of our target customer groups. With we normally aim for the mid to high income level, something that this project have during the past couple of months have already garnered quite a strong interest, especially from the local customers based in Chiang Rai, or even some of the customers from the neighboring provinces like Chiang Mai and some of the key provinces in the northern part of Thailand. Even some customers travel all the way from Bangkok and saw this project and pretty much amazed them to the point that they managed to reserve their bookings in advance. So it's something that we believe that during the new normal situation, the ability to deliver a decent private space plus something that's high quality and it's in a very accessible location still remains the key selling point to our residential launches. The other project, of course, similar names, similar format, located in Bang Na, which is in the eastern part of Bangkok. And this location is actually pretty close to our 2 mall locations at the eastern part of Bangkok. One in Bang Na, and the other is the Central Village Luxury Outlet Mall. So it's very accessible. It's located right next to the main road of the Bang Na that connects Bangkok to the eastern provinces. And of course, the price point similar to the one above is also quite accommodating to a lot of the mid to high income level group of customers. So I guess with the new launches, in addition to some of the previous launches that we've already secured the demand for, we're pretty much on target in terms of achieving our full year transfers this year, which we expect at around 1.8 to around 2 billion baht this year. Plus, if the demand picks up very strongly towards the end of the year, we could have the potential upside to this guideline figures. So let's take a quick recap in terms of where we stand in terms of meeting our 2020 full year target. Of course, total revenues since the first half, we've taken a massive hit in terms of the rental services revenue as well as from other businesses. Third quarter, has seemed to taking the turn for the better. So I think in the fourth quarter, if things continue to improve at this very encouraging pace, we're probably on course in terms of meeting the guidelines that we've given out several months back in terms of the revenue performance as well as that of our core rental and services business. In terms of profit margin, I think we've managed to outperform our initial expectation in terms of the cost performance. We've garnered a pretty solid gross profit margin recovery. Our SG&A expense to revenue ratio is maintained relatively similar, if not lower than the level that we used to achieve under the normal situation. And last but not least, we've managed to secure a pretty healthy EBITDA margin to make sure that we still maintain a healthy pipeline of cash flows from operation to make sure that we can sustain the cash flows and liquidity levels to support our business. So even though things are looking bright, we're not taking things for granted for sure. So at least for the near-term outlook, in the past few weeks, a lot of the positive developments in terms of vaccine and also possible return of international travels, have been hitting the headlines so far. We still maintain our stance in terms of providing the safety and also the cleanliness measures at all of our projects that we take care of. So in terms of making sure that this becomes the new standard, something that, our malls continue to be the center of all lifestyles in a very safe and also clean manner. Something that's paramount in terms of, making sure that we deliver that going forward. Also, in terms of trying to complete our total value offer to our customers. We start to explore potential ways that we could continue to engage with our customers through the online or social media channels. So in the past, we used to invest heavily in terms of making sure that our physical location remains attractive. Going forward, I think it's a combination of between both, making sure that even though customers are not physically at the mall, they can still remain attached to our brands through the online communication channel, and that's something that we've began to pick up the pace this year, and also going forward, this will be an integral part of the engagement channels with our customers. So we're looking to try to deliver something that's kind of like a unique online to offline experience. Second of all, I think in terms of cost performance this year will eventually be something that at least some portions of it will continue to maintain the same level of efficiencies that we've achieved, if not higher. Each year, we try to explore ways that we can reduce the reliance on like for example utilities, electricity, or even human capital, and we're looking for ways that we could introduce some new use of technology or some process innovation that we could be smarter about the way we operate. But all these has to be done without compromising the level of services that we give to the customers. So it's not just a matter of cutting costs here and there. We need to maintain the level of service that we've pretty much been well known for in terms of giving the customers a very premium level of service at our malls. Next, I think if we look beyond next year or two, in terms of our medium-term plan, I think we continue to move forward in terms of the new project development. The overall picture this year, has somewhat allow us to revisit the development pipeline, for the next 5 years, which in the past we've communicated that we have more than 15 other locations that we could potentially develop into new mixed-use projects, plus a handful of mixed-use extension in the existing locations. So we have a huge lineup of new project development that's on the table at the moment. And today, the pipeline still maintains the same, but we're becoming more scrutinized in terms of the way we proceed with the new developments. But to say the least, the projects that we've already announced, like for example, next year we're going to have 2 new malls, one in Ayutthaya and the other in Sriracha, and the year after in Jantaburi. And also in the next few years, we will have the landmark mixed-use development. This is Central Park on the table as well. So those projects, will continue to move forward with the same plan that we previously announced. And we still have several other unannounced projects that even though right now it's still shuffling between the order of the development and also the launches, all in all, we're still moving forward in terms of making sure that we deliver a very good quality project that fits the customer's new way of life. And at the end, we look for ways to try to accommodate the highest level of services in a very good and also complete package offer that we still maintain our belief that at the end of the day, mixed-use development is something that we will continue to drive our growth going forward. Last but not least, we're looking for ways to deliver or introduce new products or service offers to the customer, something that is very interchangeable and something that has been the kind of like the the moving veins in terms of making sure our malls still remain an attractive destination to their lifestyles. So we're looking to collaborate more with our business partners in terms of delivering the new way of life, and also the new products and services that's going to address the needs of the various groups of customers everywhere we go. And of course, we continue to put our communities at heart, whether it be from the root business, as well as small business operators to have a chance to basically connect with the customers and community by using our place as a centerpiece of the marketplace to basically connect between their products and services to the end customers. So that's something we will continue to bring prosperity to the communities that we go, and of course the country as a whole. So this ends the presentation, and I guess we'll just go straight. So the first questions that we have is, as the customer behavior, starts to change and are geared more towards online shopping, is there any structural change that we would expect to the rental structure, potentially, reducing rents at the end? I guess this works in both ways. Is that the purpose of having an online or offline store is something that will be defined differently going forward. In the past, offline stores used to be the point of sale, something that customers come in, select, and purchase the products. And today, with the availability of online social media, things can be done. Those shopping transactions can be done within a flash and without having to come to the mall. On the other hand, physical locations, serves as something that, the online channel couldn't exactly replicate, which is something that, we try to work with the tenants to make sure that the physical locations, like the malls, maintain an attractive destination to provide these customers, services or experience, or something that encourages them to come to the malls to experience these things. So we've seen some examples from the likes of, say, the banking industry already. Today, if you want to do a banking transaction, you can obviously do that via mobile payments or mobile applications and all sorts. But the fact is that the demand for physical locations for banks haven't exactly changed or have gone lower in the past. In fact, they still maintain very solid, with another sense that they continue to basically diversify or specify the use of the physical location that's catered towards a certain group of customers. We've seen the likes of exclusive lounges for high net worth customers. We've seen the use of say, business center for small businesses, and also an investment center for retail investors. So we're seeing a very diversified use of physical locations that at the end of the day they try to create new experiences and offer something, services that goes beyond than just doing a normal shopping that right now can be done through online. Second question is in terms of the Apologies for the small technical problem just now. So we'll continue with the question on the concerns over the pandemic. Of course, our view is that by next year, even though the domestic situation should continue to recover or at least maintain a very strong level of control as we've seen here, during the second half this year. Of course, in terms of other key sectors like tourism, for example, won't fully return yet. It's probably not going to be the case until the next few years. So of course, the local demand may have recovered well, but it's going to be those selected fews where whose business heavily relies on the foreign tourist demand. For the moment, we try to work with them to basically divert the focus marketing or products to be geared towards more of a local demand or local travelers, for example. Something that I think we've already seen a solid pickup in terms of local tourism. In both in the neighboring provinces of Bangkok as well as in different parts of Thailand as well. So at least for next year, that will continue to be the theme, and eventually once international travel resume, then I think we should be in a very good position to accommodate the lifestyle needs of these foreign tourists once they do return back to Thailand and also our malls. The next question is, what are management's view on the long-term sustainability plan? For the past 40 years, Central PATTANA has been very committed in terms of making sure that, as our business grow, the surrounding communities grow with us. So, during the past 4 decades, I think we've come a long way in terms of bringing prosperity to the various parts of Thailand. Starting from the single integrated mall location in Bangkok, La Prao, and we continue to expand those footprints into the various regions that we go. And along with that, we try to engage or get the local communities involved in terms of creating jobs and also creating business opportunities for the local entrepreneurs, for example, to have a chance to basically showcase their products or services in everywhere we go. And wherever we go, another important theme is we try to make sure that we can stay hand in hand with the society as well as the environment. If you notice that some of the malls that we have in our portfolio, we don't exactly adopt the same format everywhere we go, but we try to adapt to the locality of the different locations that we go. So the southern part of Thailand, for example, would have a different architecture and design, and also it features something that we try to be very environmentally mindful in terms of we blend in the natural aspect of things with the malls and the surroundings. And when we go to the northeastern part, the northern part of Thailand, then we would have a very different character for each of those locations. And at the end of the day, we want to have a very strong platform to grow our business in the new locations, as well as maintain the sustainability of the business in the existing locations that we have. So our view of the not only just the long-term growth target where we still want to achieve consistent sustainable growth level, but we want to make sure that our communities, our society, and the environment gets developed along with us as well. The next question is on the dividend policy. Right now, we still maintain the policy at around 40% of net profit payout. and that payout is also circumstantial to the external factors as well. Like for this year, when we had the COVID-19 impact, and with the uncertainties that lie ahead, we've managed to pay out the dividends that's lower than the policy level. Once everything resumes back to normal, then it's very likely that we should stick to the dividend policy, 40% payout. And if for some cases, we would also consider other factors as well, like excess liquidity, as well as if there's any one-time gains within our operations, then we would consider paying a portion of that back to the shareholders as well. So it's something that we continue to consider the dividend as as time goes by. But of course, we want to maintain our ability to provide consistent and sound return back to the shareholders in the end. Another question is, is there any delay in the new project development as a result of COVID-19? I guess in the big picture, there's no particular delay. We continue to move forward with the new project development. For those that we've already announced, that by next year or next few years, and also several others that we still haven't announced, but we've got the plan firmly in our hands. We continue to move forward with all of those. The timing of the launches and also the scrutiny, the detailed work of each of these projects, have pretty much been reviewed, and we try to accommodate additional features or perhaps stipulate new concepts that could accommodate the future new normal lifestyles in the end. So it has to be something that we're taking a very prudent approach in terms of reviewing our new project development. So in terms of timing, some projects could get shifted to by a few months or by several months. But at the end, I think in terms of the total pipeline, we still have the potential of bringing all these 15 plus projects online. So I guess in terms of the big picture, we're still moving forward with all these new project developments. And I guess that's all the questions that we have so far. But if the audience have any further questions, then feel free to contact us via email or reach out to us through the contact points to the investor relations team at Central PATTANA. And of course, today, just closing remark is that I think we're in a pretty solid shape in terms of making sure that we meet the near-term guidance, as well as maintain our pace to achieve the medium to long-term growth. But nonetheless, this has to be done in a very, very prudent and cautious manner. Where we're not taking this recovery situation for granted, and we continue to basically look after the well-being of all of our stakeholders, our customers, our tenants, our employees, and also business partners, and most importantly, our investors and shareholders. Something that we want to remain, as a sustainable choice for long-term returns. So, with that, thank you very much for your attention, and hopefully we'll get to meet each other again in person soon. Thank you, and สวัสดีครับ